Ferrari is getting ready to bring huge changes to their race car in the first part of the racing season. It looks like the Ferrari team really wants to win. Their new race car design has been doing pretty well. They got on the winner's stage twice in just 2 races. This means they're probably the second fastest team right now. But what they really want is to beat the Red Bull team more often and actually win races. So let's talk about what new stuff Ferrari is adding to their car in the next few races. And the big question is, will these changes be good enough to beat Max Verstappen? He's already won both races so far by a lot. Ferrari started the 2024 season exactly like they planned, being the second fastest team. But according to their team boss, this is just the beginning of what they want to do all season long. The team fixed some old problems from their previous cars. Now they're focused on making their new car even better. The good news is that their new car, called the SF24, doesn't have the same restrictions as before. The car's frame and gearbox design are much easier to work with now. The first big upgrade for the SF24 should happen around the Japanese Grand Prix race. This race will be the first time they deal with really different weather. And the next race in Australia will also be super challenging because keeping the engines cool will be really hard there. Ferrari made their SF24 pretty normal looking for the first 3 races on purpose. They wanted to understand if all the changes they made during the winter break actually worked. But now it's time to build on what they learned, according to a report from Formula 1. The Ferrari team is going to change a lot of things on their car. They want to be really competitive against the Red Bull RB20. Here's what the report said. Ferrari started with a basic SF24 to make sure they understood their new airflow design really well, but in their wind tunnel testing they have a much more extreme version ready. Some upgrades are coming for the Suzuka race, and then an updated look is coming for Imola. That race should bring lots of surprises to everyone. Imola is the race that every Ferrari fan should circle on their calendar. That's because Ferrari will be working on a brand new side panel design and a new floor for the car. If you remember, the team couldn't make these kinds of changes to their old car, the SF23, because of design problems. The old car's frame and basic design just wouldn't let them make these improvements. But now Ferrari is super confident that the foundation they built during the 2023 winter break is strong enough to create a race car that can actually fight Red Bull at the front of the pack. Right now, there's really good news about keeping the engine cool. Ferrari hasn't had any major problems in this area, which is actually a big issue for Mercedes right now. Mercedes had to change their whole car design and they're still learning about it. This doesn't mean Ferrari won't change their cooling system later, though. The air openings for the radiators will get smaller and follow the same path that Red Bull used in Hungary last year. They're copying their biggest rivals. This change will help increase the special air effect under the side panels, which lets the car get more speed from better airflow. Since it's cooler in Japan and the races after that, keeping the engines cool won't be the most important thing like it is in really hot races in Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and Australia. This could help Ferrari focus even more on making their car faster through better airflow design. Ferrari will follow the same development path that the RB19 used. That's the car that basically every team copied when making their 2024 cars, according to Formula 1, which is a website that knows a lot about Ferrari. One of the first improvements the SF24 will get is more aggressive air inlets on the side panels. They can do this because the engineers back at Ferrari figured out that there aren't any serious problems with keeping the engine cool. Even though they're bringing some really bold designs for the airbox, it's working fine. This means the team can push for better performance in their wind tunnel tests without facing all the cooling problems they had last year. If we believe these early statements from Ferrari and the media that follows the team closely, we should expect to see a really competitive version of the SF24 very early in the season. This should give us lots of exciting races in 2024. It might even set things up for a championship fighting year in 2025 when Hamilton joins up with Leclerc. The most important thing to understand here is that Ferrari has a solid foundation to build on. This is exactly what stopped them from getting good results with their upgrades in previous years. However, the engineers back at Ferrari are now convinced that their current design and car philosophy help them understand the mechanical and airflow concepts much better. This opens up lots of opportunities where they could bring major performance improvements and challenge Red Bull while doing it. This just shows that Hamilton knew what he was doing when he signed his contract for 2025. But that's a topic for a different video. What we want to talk about is whether Ferrari will have a chance of beating Verstappen in 2024. Remember, the three-time world champion had a huge advantage in the first two opening races of the season. If Ferrari wants to fix the problems they've seen in 2024, they need to understand them first, which is exactly what they did in Bahrain. Leclerc had a brake problem that stopped him from pushing the car to its absolute limit. The brakes wouldn't work at their best when he pressed them really hard, and that cost him a spot against his teammate, Sainz. The team really believes there's some potential they couldn't unlock in Saudi Arabia because of the basic design of their car, but that's going to change in the upcoming races. When talking about the upgrades coming in the pipeline after Saudi Arabia, their team boss said, "We already have some new parts ready. In fact, there's already an evolved version of the SF24 in our wind tunnel. That's more advanced than the current 1.0 version we're using now." It's no secret that the race cars we're seeing on the track right now will go through massive changes in the near future. This is because of how the racing tracks are evolving and changing. While Ferrari will apply small upgrades in April, it doesn't mean these changes will have small effects. Quite the opposite, actually. The Ferrari team expects to make some tweaks and get as much performance as possible. They want to show both Carlos Sainz and Lewis Hamilton that they made the right choice to join them from 2025 onwards. Although Ferrari is looking forward to improving their car in the 2024 season, it doesn't mean it will happen without consequences. For example, Sainz himself said that he won't be participating in developing the car. The team won't count on him for logical and practical reasons. He could bring all those upgrades to whatever team he goes to in 2025. If we judge by the first race in Bahrain, Sainz will do anything but step back and let Leclerc have his way with the team. There are lots of opportunities waiting for him from 2025 onwards, and he's on his own mission. So all these upgrades would actually help his mission too, even though he might not be part of developing them. After all, Rob Smedley, who used to be an engineer at Ferrari, shared his feelings about Ferrari taking the fight to Red Bull. According to him, the fact that Ferrari had the second fastest car for a couple of years in a row means they're extremely close to being the best. They just need a driver of Hamilton's level to push them in the right direction. However, from 2025 onwards, the power duo of Leclerc and Hamilton will also face lots of challenges. Since Hamilton isn't bringing any allies from Mercedes with him, there could very well be a power struggle about who would lead the team into the new era. Leclerc would prove to be a tough opponent for the seven-time world champion. But what Ferrari needs to decide right now is whether they'll prioritize their drivers now that they're entering their last season as teammates. This is always a problem when you have two very competitive drivers on one team. Logic says that Leclerc should be the driver who gets prioritized. But even with the car having a style and design that he would find more appealing, it was Sainz who managed to get on the winner's stage in Bahrain. He showed that he's not here to step down at any point during the season. What Ferrari needs to show is that their drivers have what it takes to win races and championships once they get the right car. If Sainz manages to do this in 2024, then he would be making a very strong case for himself from 2025 onwards. According to reports, negotiations with Mercedes have already started. He could be proving to the Ferrari team that the problem isn't him, but the car they gave him. With this in mind, do you think Ferrari has what it takes to challenge Red Bull more often for wins in 2024? And if so, which driver do you think will have the upper edge in doing so? Let us know in the comments below.